Welcome to the 5th video in our series. Today we're going to look at building the floor and the walls. But before we get started, let's go ahead and look at a commercial that I have of a 3D mountain pack that is on Gumroad and Fab. So check it out. What we're going to do today is basically create our room based upon these measurements. The floor is 10 feet square. Essentially, we're going to make a 10-foot square room with 8-foot walls, and we're going to build it right now. So first thing I want to do is go in here and I want to go ahead and clear out my scene. And I want to add in a mesh plane. This is going to constitute as the floor. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my measurements now. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another mesh primitive because I'm going to show you guys a different way of doing this. It would have been easier for me to extrude it off the side, but I'm just going to show you a different way of doing the same thing. So I'm going to create a duplicate of that 10-foot square plane. I'm going to set the 3D cursor on the edge of the first plane, and I'm going to rotate the second one on that cursor, almost like a pivot point, if you will. Make sure to change my medium back to medium point, and then what I'm going to do, because I have two different meshes here and two different basically two different objects, I'm going to group them together. And after doing that, I'm going to tighten the vertices together into one piece. So essentially I took the long way to doing the extrude option. Extrude would have been quicker, but I literally only did this to show you guys a different way of doing this, right? So let's go ahead and tie these two verts together into one. I'm going to merge them. I'm going to merge the last. Okay, so now this is one piece of geometry that is connected. All right, so now I'm going into my files, and as you guys can see, I'm getting ready to create the fourth file in here. It's called floor-walls.blend. So we're getting through these files so far. We were almost there. And now what I want to do is I'm just looking over everything. I'm going to take the side here. I'm trying to figure out how I want to finish this wall out. So I'm putting in my 8-foot wall at the top. And if you notice, when I plugged it in, it dropped down by 2 feet. So now I've got the height of the wall with the 10-foot square floor. So now we got our measurements all exactly right. So now I'm going to grab this edge right here. I'm going to pull this wall out to the side. Keep in mind these vertices are not attached yet. So what I'm doing is I'm zooming in. I'm making sure that this side of this wall comes all the way out to the edge. Like so. And then what I want to do is go to vertices, select edit mode, and I'm going to select the first one and then the select one. And I'm going to hit M and then merge the last. And then that ties this geometry together. The corner should already be selected and in there too, but I'm just going to double check. I have seen Blender do weird stuff, and I'm just making sure, but it should have been already connected. All right, so now let's put a roof on this thing. All I need is a ceiling for the scene. So I'm pulling this one out, and I'm essentially going to do the same thing here. That corner vert is already good to go, because that was just the same vertices it was pivoting off of, but then these two here, I need to connect these two together. So I'm going to do select that one and select the one on the edge, do merge to last, and now we have good geometry here. So next thing I want to do is I want to tackle selections that I don't want to lose again. So I'm going to create some vertex groups here, and vertex groups will allow me to specify selections and assign the selection to a vertex group. So if I go back in and want to hit it later, I just select the vertex group and I don't have to select all the stuff again. Now granted, this is just a massive giant face, so it's easy, but imagine something with a lot of faces on it, like an organic model or something like that. All right, so I'm just going in here and selecting different parts of this box and selecting like a flooring, walls, and then ceiling. So as we come back in here for the purpose of putting textures on them, it'd be just quick to just click what I want and roll with it. So now I'm going here and I'm playing with the floor. This is a test image I'm using for right now. I just want to see how it lays out. It's just an image I found off of Google that matched the floor a little bit. It's not exactly right, but what I'm going to end up doing is going on the Blender kit and pulling one down that looks more like it. And here we go. I'll pull this one from Blender kit. There's a bunch of texture images here, but this one has displacement. And what I want to do is, because those boards look a little thick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, second thought, I think they're okay. I'll leave them alone. Let's go to cycles and see what this looks like. I'm going to select my walls now. And I accidentally had the floor selected, so let's reassign the walls so I don't have the floor selected in there. And the ceiling's good to go, so it's not in there either. And what I want to do is I want to create a material for the paint. What's nice about this is I can use these materials. I can paint my walls whatever color I want. I'm going to use like a pewter color. So like a desaturated, like a slightly warm light gray. That's the color I'm shooting for here. All right, so I'm just kind of screwing around with some settings here. Usually I cut this stuff out so as not to elongate the video or bore you guys looking at it, but I figured no more than I'm going to be in here screwing around with this color, trying to dial this color in. It'd be nice for you guys to kind of see what this really looks like. At least for me when I'm working with trying to figure out the right color, which I use color wheels a lot. I've used them a lot in my career. So pretty good at dialing these colors in. But anyway, I'm gonna crank the roughness up just to see what it looks like. Keep in mind when we get done with this, when we actually put this all together in a scene, we're gonna have sunlight shining in. So I want to make sure that the walls don't look glossy. I want them to be like a soft lighting on them. So we can come back and tweak some of these materials if we need to. So now what I want to tackle is I want to do the ceiling. I'm gonna do like that popcorn styrofoam ceiling. It doesn't need to be super detailed because keep in mind it's gonna be the ceiling. It's not gonna be the focus of the camera. You're gonna barely see it, but I want there to convey that there's some kind of texture, some kind of action going on up there. So let's go in here. I created a color ramp, a noise texture, mapping node, and I'm bringing in a displacement because for the same piece here off that color ramp, I want to add some displacement in to give it some like real geometry. But I just want, and the reason why I want to do this, when that sun shines in, after we put the scene together, I want the light to catch some of the bumps to create like little cracks and dents and crevices and shadows and stuff. It's just going to add to the realism of it. And the scene is not so heavy that I need to worry about it. Because you've noticed, this is just a big giant cube. This is like one giant face. I don't have like a subdivision on any of this. So for the room, you really don't need it because it's so angular. So I can save some resources by not doing subdivision on pieces of this room, because we're going to have it in other pieces when we put our scene together. So right now I'm just going in here and making some tweaks and some changes, and that's all done for now. So now this is where we are. I went ahead and added in an HDRI so you have a little bit better lighting in here. So now what I want to do is I want to start creating some of the molding on the side. So let's bring in a cube and let's just scale it down really thin, and I'm just going to stick it on the side of this wall. Nothing real fancy. I'm not trying to carve it into the geometry because I may decide to change it later. I may hate it and decide to redo it, but let's just try something for right now and see what we get. So I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to nudge it to that wall as best I can. I'm kind of trying to build this like you would build it in the real world. So like you put your drywall up, then somebody come along and put some wood up for the molding, and Then you'd put your baseboards up down there at the bottom, which is other wood. Like, it's all kind of nailed together, and I'm kind of building the geometry like that. But since it's all very angular, I don't have to get too detailed with it. And like I said, keep in mind, guys, when we put this scene together, these details will kind of fool the eye a little bit. They'll add to the realism, but we don't need to get super detailed with any of these pieces because the camera will never be zoomed in on these pieces. We just want it to look like there's something there just to catch lighting for shadowing and that sort of thing. Also, it'll give it like a little pop of contrast too with the white boards and the white molding versus the light gray paint, and then the wood texture is going to be a little bit different. It'll catch the attention of your eye and your brain to say, oh, there's something going on here, but it's never meant to literally draw your attention to it, if that makes sense. All right, so right now I'm just putting in a piece of molding. I just made my own shape. Didn't really care if it looked like real molding or not. I'm just throwing something in here. Make a duplicate, rotate 90 degrees, and I'm going to shove that one over into the other corner. And now that I'm looking at this molding, I don't love it, so we may decide to redo it. But for now, let's just stick it in here and see what it looks like. It almost looks too high, and the cutouts look too big, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's too high, but that's okay. We'll change it in a minute. The way I did the cutouts, very easy. I selected a face. I did an inset, extrude, inset, extruded in, and that was it. Just like we've done on so many other videos. So here I'm bringing in a small cube. I'm going to grab it up at the top. I'm going to put the crown molding up at the very top between the wall and the ceiling. And I'm going to keep this super simple. I'm going to grab this face here and I'm just going to drag it over to the edge of that wall. If you notice, I'm doing all this is in cycles preview, because this scene is not very heavy, or this, I wouldn't say it's a scene. This model isn't very heavy in terms of resources on my machine, so I can kind of work in real time ray trace mode here, which is nice. All right, so I did a little cut here, did a roughly the same size rectangle as the shape is, and then I'm going to extrude this out on the side just to drag it out on the other wall. Very, very simple stuff we're doing here. This is probably the simplest thing we're going to build in the whole series. This is going to be the room and the walls and stuff. It's all angular. Okay. And let's nudge it all out to the edge, because that's not going to be on camera when we finish this all. And I want to put a loop cut in here. And essentially all I want to do here is I just want to give it a little bit of detail. Like I said, crown molding usually doesn't stick out like what I'm about to do here, but I'm just doing it just for the purpose of like letting light catch things that are sticking out. And just, you know, you'll see it's going to add to the whole realism of the scene. But you're rarely going to see any of this in the view. And I'm just going to bring it down like that. And I want to bevel this. Like so. And the more I'm looking at that molding down there near the floor, the more I'm not feeling it, but I'm okay with the stuff up here at the top. So let's put some loop cuts in here, just because those faces are just so long. I mean, I really don't need to, because it's just a straight face. It really doesn't matter, but just for good practice sake, I'll do it. I don't want to teach you guys a lot of bad habits, so I'll go ahead and put those cuts in there. So I'm looking at these, don't like them. Let's delete them, and let's take another shot at this. So let's bring in another cube, and I want to tackle this slightly differently. This is not uncommon for me to get almost done with something and just decide to change it. Very, very common. I want to scale this way down because the other ones were just too tall. They were dwarfing the size of the room, and they weren't to scale with what the real ones look like. And granted, I didn't measure them, when I took the photos and I did the measurements of the wall, I did not measure the molding. I probably should have, but I just didn't. So, gotta eyeball it. All right, so I'm just scaling things down. I'm sizing some things down. I'm just getting a real quick look at what all this looks like. Let's go in isolation mode. Let me select his face on the edge because I only want to drag it over to the corner of that wall. And we'll just do it with G on the Y-axis. It doesn't need to go through the wall. Let's just tuck it up real close. And I want to grab this bottom face. And what we can do is we can just pull it down because I think I've got the height of it about where it needs to be. That looks about right to me. So now let's put a loop cut in here. And let's bring the loop cut here on the edge. And let's get it about the same thickness as that other side. And then I'm going to select the face on the edge of that cut. And then I'm going to extrude that whole section over on the opposite wall. All out to the edge of the room we have here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. You guys happy with it? All right, yeah, so this looks a lot cleaner. All right, let's save our file. You notice I like to save a lot because Blender has been known at times for crashing, even though this version is supposedly more stable. Before I forget, let's go in here and let's start naming some of these meshes here where we got all these cubes. So this is a cube molding. I named one, I meant model molding. I named one model.room. I'm just giving these arbitrary names. And like I said, when I do these videos, I name these things on the fly. I don't pre-plan it. I don't pre-script it. I'm just doing it on the fly. And the reason why I'm doing that is I'm just literally sharing my process with you guys. Now, if I'm doing a paid project, I usually plan it out a little bit better. But for our videos, I want to model stuff kind of in the raw. So one, it challenges me, but it also kind of helps you guys see how this a lot of times is really done. So I'm going to put all these guys in a collection and call it model.floor-walls. And let's create that and let's do the color thing. All right, so we're good right there. Yeah, I think the height of that molding looks accurate. And while I'm in here, let's go ahead and lighten up that paint because it's way too dark. That looks more what I was looking for. I crank the saturation down a little bit, make it a little bit more gray, but I just want it to have a light yellowing to it to make it look like a pewter. All right, so now we got that done. So I fast forward a little bit in the video because all I did here is I selected the molding, I selected the wall, and I created a cube. And I basically made a cutter using a boolean operation on the difference selection. So now what I'm doing is I'm basically making a windowsill, a little windowsill here, because this window in that room almost goes all the way to the floor. So I want to mimic that here. So I'm put a cut here, and then I'm going to grab this top edge all the way across these three pieces, and then I'm just going to go down on Z. Just put like a little lip right there, like a little tray, and then I'm bringing my cutter back. See, I just shoved a big giant cube through there. Where it's wrong is I originally had cut out some faces in the wall, but what I'm gonna do is go back in there and change that and come back in there and fix that, so you'll see that cut looks right. All right, so I'm moving the cube up, the cutter anyway, by itself, and I'm going to put it in its own collection so we don't get it confused with the rest of everything else. And let's do the color thing. Usually red I usually use for cutters, boolean cutters. There we go. So now see that, look, that's all cut as one piece. But my cutter is still too high because it's not going quite down on that tray where I want it to. So let's edit the cube or the cutter and let's bring that bottom face down on Z quite a bit here. And then let's go back and hide the cutter because the cutter still has a boolean operation on it. So see, now I need to take the cutter and do the same thing to the wall. So give me a second here. Let's create a new boolean on the wall because we had it on the molding. And I want to select the cutter as the object, and bam, there you go. Nice and clean cut all the way through. And that's how you do that. Nice. If you like this kind of video, like and subscribe for more videos. There's another round of videos coming up real soon, so stay tuned. We're almost done, guys.